In this video, we're going to talk about the 7 best Vanguard ETFs to buy and hold forever. Hi, I'm Damien Wagyu, and if you're new to the channel, I like to discuss unconventional investing strategies. One of the biggest global managers of mutual funds and ETFs is the Vanguard Group. Established in 1974 by the investing icon John Bogle, the Vanguard Group invented low-cost ETFs and mutual funds. These funds are perfect for people who want to put their investing on autopilot and just buy and hold forever. Vanguard has 81 ETFs for people to choose from, which can make it hard for new investors to decide which one to start with. Well, I did a ton of research and I narrowed it down to the 7 best Vanguard ETFs that you can buy and hold forever. Let's get started. So for the US equities ETF category, we have VOO, the Vanguard 500 ETF. This fund tracks the S&P 500 index, which is made up of the 500 largest companies in the United States. The S&P 500 is considered a gauge of the overall performance of the United States stock market. This fund gives investors the potential to grow their capital, but can rise and fall dramatically if the stock market does so as well. It's perfect for the long-term investor who wants to buy and hold without worrying about daily price movement. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VOO. The price is $363.71. The expense ratio is 0.03%. The assets are $262 billion. The dividend yield is 1.66%, and the average annual return is 12.81%. The top 5 holdings of VOO are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, and Google. And I usually like to look at the overall Morningstar rating to see how analysts view these stocks. VOO has a Morningstar overall rating of 4 out of 5 stars. So if you're looking for a fund that tracks the performance of the overall US stock market and are willing to ride the ups and downs with it, then VOO is the perfect fund for you. All right, next category is the best real estate ETF. This one is the ticker symbol VNQ, and that's the Vanguard Real Estate ETF. This fund invests in stocks issued by Real Estate Investment Trust, or REITs, which are companies that purchase office buildings, hotels, and other types of commercial buildings and lease them to commercial tenants. This is more of an income fund than a growth fund, since most of the money collected through lease agreements gets distributed out to shareholders through dividend payments. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VNQ. The price is $87.69. The expense ratio is 0.12%. The assets are $33 billion. The dividend yield is 3.72%, and the average annual return is 7.3%. The top 5 holdings of this fund are the Vanguard Real Estate Index, Prologis, American Tower Corp, Equinix, and Crown Castle. The Morningstar overall rating of VNQ is 3 out of 5 stars. So if you'd like to allocate a portion of your portfolio to an income fund that's based on real estate and might not grow as much as VOO that's tech heavy with Apple, Google, and Amazon, then VNQ would be a good choice for you. All right, next up is the best ETF for value investors. And this is the ticker symbol VTV, the Vanguard Value ETF. This fund invests in large cap value stocks, so stocks in sectors like healthcare, consumer staples, and industrials. Value stocks typically have lower PE ratios, so price to earning ratios, compared to companies that are growth stocks like Apple and Amazon, where the share price is based more on where investors think the company will grow. Value stocks all share a few characteristics that investors gravitate to. So they're typically well-established businesses with a long history of success. They have consistent profitability, they have stable revenue streams, and most offer dividend payments. Let's look at a couple key metrics about VTV. So the price is $141.62. The expense ratio is 0.04%. The assets are $99 billion. The dividend yield is 2.52%, and the average annual return is 8.41%. The top 5 holdings of VTV are Berkshire Hathaway, United Healthcare, Johnson & Johnson, ExxonMobil, and JP Morgan Chase. So the overall Morningstar rating of VTV is 5 out of 5 stars. If you're an investor looking for an ETF comprised of stable stocks that won't go up and down as much and is made up of well-established companies with a lower risk profile, then VTV might be right for you. Next up is the best ETF for risk-adverse investors. This is the ticker symbol VFMV, which is the Vanguard US Minimum Volatility Volatility ETF. This fund invests in stocks that together have the potential to generate lower volatility than the broad U.S. stock market. The portfolio is comprised of a diverse mix of companies that represent different market caps, so small, medium, and large-sized companies, and different market sectors and industries to keep you well diversified. This is one of Vanguard's newest ETFs, and it just came to market in February 2018. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VFMV. So the price is currently $99.25. The expense ratio is 0.13%. The assets are $82 million. The dividend yield is 1.96%, and the average annual return is 7.61%. The top 5 holdings of VFMV: Gilead Sciences, Lockheed Martin, Roper Technologies, Merck & Co., and Amgen. The overall Morningstar rating for VFMV is 3 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a predictable investment with lower drawdowns and lower volatility, then VFMV might be right for you. So next up is the best Vanguard International ETF, which is the ticker symbol VXUS, and this is the Vanguard Total International Stock ETF. This fund gives investors exposure across both developed and emerging non-US equity markets. Japan makes up the largest market share in the fund at 15% of the holdings, followed by the United Kingdom at 10% and China at 8%. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VXUS. So the price is $55.94. The expense ratio is 0.07%. The assets are $50 billion. The dividend yield is 4.58%, and the average annual return is 3.43%. The top 5 holdings of VXUS are Taiwan Semiconductor, Nestle, Tencent, ASML Holdings, and Roche Holdings. And the Morningstar overall rating is 3 out of 5 stars. I believe that most people should at least have some international exposure in their portfolio, and VXUS is a great choice for that. Next up is the best Vanguard Income ETF, and this is the ticker symbol VWOB, and this is the Vanguard Emerging Markets Government Bond ETF. This fund provides investors a convenient way to get exposure to emerging markets government bonds. While bonds might not be the first thing you think of when it comes to high yield investing, government bonds issued by emerging markets governments often can provide a high yield because they're considered a riskier investment than US bonds. Assuming that these emerging market countries pay their debt back, you can make a good income holding these bonds. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VWOB. So the price is $63.66. The expense ratio is 0.2%. The assets are $3 billion. The dividend yield is 5.06%. And the average annual return is 1.73%. The top 5 bond holdings in this ETF by country are Qatar, China, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Argentina. The Morningstar overall rating of this fund is 3 out of 5 stars. I would consider this an unconventional holding for most investors since you're exposed to a particular country and not really a single company. If you have faith that countries like Saudi Arabia, China, and Mexico will make good on their debt and keep their payments up to date, then VWOB would be a good holding for you. Next up is the best Vanguard ETF for inflation protection, and the ticker symbol is VTIP, and this is the Vanguard Short-Term Inflation Protected Securities ETF. This fund is designed to generate returns that are closely correlated to short-term realized inflation. It invests in bonds backed by the full faith and credit of the US government, whose principal is adjusted for inflation. So this fund, at minimum, will keep your capital up with the US inflation rate. Let's look at a couple key metrics of VTIP. So the price is $47.04. The expense ratio is 0.04%. The assets are $16 billion. The dividend yield is 6.78%, and the average annual return is 1.32%. And I don't have the top 5 holdings because this fund is comprised completely of US government bonds. And the Morningstar overall rating of this fund is 5 out of 5 stars. So while this investment won't grow your money while adjusted for inflation, if you're looking for somewhere to maybe park your money while considering other options, VTIP is a great choice. All right, that's it for my list of the best 7 Vanguard ETFs. Like always, you should build a portfolio that's tailored to your needs as an investor. But generally, if you focus on broad market, low fee ETFs, like a lot of the ones offered by Vanguard, you'll be in a pretty good position. I do also want to clarify that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm showing you what I've found through my research, but you should certainly do your own research as well. That's it for my video today. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date on unconventional investing strategies. Have a good day.